This is Bugha, the kid who changed Fortnite forever. Everyone knows him as the youngest Fortnite millionaire who made a name for himself as the first Fortnite World Cup solo champion at just 16 years old. But what made Fortnite's first millionaire the greatest player of all time is a story of ups and downs that everyone should know. Kyle Bugha was born on December 30th, 2002 in Pennsylvania and was introduced to gaming by his dad, Glenn Jstoff. He was an ordinary kid who hung out with friends, played sports, and went to school. No one knew that this kid was going to shine as the greatest Fortnite player of all time. Fortnite Battle Royale was released on September 26, 2017. Bugha's dad was apparently the one who introduced him to Fortnite and helped him understand the mechanics of the game. In the initial phase, he was mostly a console player, but at some point, he realized that he is way better than his friends at school and actually really good compared to the most of the community. That's when he decided to take the next step and get a PC and start grinding with other high-performing players. Bugha became more competitive when Fortnite didn't have much of a competitive scene and players were mostly playing it for fun. But then Epic realized that Fortnite could be much more than that of what it is, and they introduced competitions to help the best earn something. Eventually, Epic started tournaments, though the actual age for participation was kept at 16 years old, and at the time Bugha was just 15. However, before the Winter Royal tournament in 2018, Epic Games decided to drop competitive age to just 13 years old, which finally allowed Bugha to compete at a professional level. This was great news for Bugha, but he played it very casually and unfortunately couldn't qualify for the Winter Royal. The next tournament, the Share the Love event, was in February 2019. In addition, he competed in the Scallywag Cup and the Blackheart Cup, both in 2019. But he didn't perform well in these tournaments either. From here, Bugha started shifting gears. He knew that he could do better and started grinding day and night. Soon after, there was a major announcement from Epic that would change esports as we know. It was called the Fortnite World Cup. The greatest thing about this tournament was that anyone with a PC or a console could qualify. Because of that, around 50 million people participated to qualify for the Fortnite World Cup. At this time, Bugha wasn't just an average player. He showed much improvement in his mechanics, builds, edits, and because of that, he joined an organization called the Sentinels. Bugha officially joined Sentinels Rooster on March 25, 2019, just a few days before the World Cup qualifiers were scheduled to begin. Now the question may arise, how could Bugha easily join an organization just before the World Cup? Well, Bugha had already been duoing with a player for a while, who was on the Sentinels Fortnite Rooster. So signing Bugha to the organization as well was not an issue at all. Bugha started to grind and load up for the first week of the NA East World Cup qualifiers. The grind paid off and Bugha placed first in qualifying, earning $5,000 and a ticket to New York for the event. In addition, he was guaranteed $50,000 for attending the World Cup. This was just the first week, and he wanted to qualify as a duo with Kuros, but unfortunately, they couldn't manage to qualify. The day finally came on July 26, 2019, when Bugha took a train and headed to New York for the first time for his very first LAN event, which was about to change his entire life. Without too much of plan, Bugha entered the World Cup solo finals on July 28, 2019. Going into the event, he was not considered a front runner at all. Even though he placed first in NA East Week 1, people were saying that it was just a fluke and that he wouldn't perform well on the LAN. In addition, many players has qualified for both solos and duos multiple times during the 10-week period, and Bugha wasn't one of those people. So a lot of people claim that it was just luck and no skill. As the World Cup started, Bugha wasn't sure what needed to be done. He was feeling a bit nervous, but he picked up Heavy Sniper and started taking out opponents, bringing back his confidence that he could do this. There were total 6 games, and the first one Bugha won with flying colors. He was very happy considering it was his very first game at a Fortnite World Cup tournament. Unfortunately, he got a bit overconfident and couldn't perform well in the second match. Although Bugha felt defeated, he wasn't going to let that get to him. Learning from his mistakes, he played the rest of the game much safer and realized that these players were best in the world. He knew that he had to stay locked in even if he had the first place. With a dominating performance, Bugha won the entire World Cup with almost double points compared to the second place, earning $3 million at just 16 years old. This victory would change Bugha's life forever. He was featured on talk shows with Jimmy Fallon, nearly every news channel, and NFL Super Bowl commercial. As a result, Bugha's social media platform skyrocketed. He went from around 10,000 subscribers on YouTube to over a million in just one single night. But this wasn't the end of Bugha's days in Fortnite, as he had to constantly evolve considering the changes Epic was bringing to the mechanics of the game and the new players dropping in every season who were grinding day and night to be the best. At this point, Bugha had become very famous, and his social media platforms including Twitch and YouTube were growing at a constant rate with increasing viewership from all over the world. In addition, people outside Fortnite communities started to take a notice on Bugha's success. He was nominated for the Best PC Rookie of the Year and Best Esports Player of the Year at the Esports Awards, and he won on both categories.
And the winner of the Esports PC Rookie of the Year, Fortnite God himself, it's Bugha.
And your winner for Esports PC Player of the Year, none other than Bugha.
At this point, Epic Games was brainstorming ways to bring more players into the scene after the massive success of Fortnite World Cup. So Epic announced the Fortnite Championship Series (FNCS) and Fortnite Season X. The game mode was trios, and Bugha decided to team up with Clarity G and Stretch, who were very well known at the time. They began dominating tournaments and easily qualified for the grand finals. However, they finished at a disappointing 26th place, which was underwhelming considering the hopes people had for Bugha. In the next season, which was squads as the game mode, the team was joined by Treefo and placed 21st out of 25 teams, earning just $1,500. At this point, people began to speculating that the World Cup win had gone to Bugha's head. They claimed the commercial ads and overnight success has caused him to lose focus on Fortnite. The next season introduced duos. Bugha went back to his old trio mate Stretch, managed to place 5th in the FNCS Grand Finals, which was an improvement. However, on May 24, 2020, Epic held the FNCS Solo Invitational, and everyone expected Bugha to dominate series since he was the GOAT of solos. Unfortunately, Bugha got the 40th place. At this point, Bugha faced several accusations of cheating in Fortnite World Cup. People claimed that he had cheated to win, which wasn't good for Bugha, as he had just experienced overnight success and now he's facing backlash from the same community. Determined to prove himself again, Bugha competed in the FNCS Season 5 finals, where he managed to secure 4th place and earned $25,000. In the FNCS final cumulative, Bugha teamed up with Jamper and Avery, where they qualified and finished 3rd in the finals, earning them $15,000. Bugha was trying to show the world he wasn't finished and that winning World Cup wasn't just a fluke. However, many people still weren't satisfied. On March 15, 2021, Bugha joined the force of Bizzle and Clicks and managed to place 5th in the FNC's final cumulative, earning $18,000. It was obvious that not everything would go bad for Bugha. On July 19, 2021, Fortnite announced that there would be a skin for the first World Cup champion, which meant that they were adding Bugha to the game. This was a great feat for a Fortnite player to have his or her own skin, but for Bugha, that wasn't enough. He wanted to prove the world that he belonged to the top again. And here comes the FNCS on Chapter 2 Season 8. This event was trios, and Bugha decided to team up with Mero. Although they weren't able to finish 1st place in the qualifiers, finishing 5th as they went on to finish 1st in the grand finals. This team of all-stars got the 1st place, and finally Bugha was back on the top of competitive Fortnite as one of the best players in the world. Bugha was all over the world again, but a new twist was coming his way. Just a few days later, Bugha and Mero decided to seemingly drop Muzz from the trio just one day before the FNCS Grand Royal on Chapter 2 Season 9. This news shocked the Fortnite community. Bugha and Mero teamed up with a new trio member, Dukes. No one knew the actual reason for this decision, as there didn't seem to be any issue with performance and everything was going well for the trio. Nevertheless, the new trio Bugha, Mero and Dukes competed in the FNC's Grand Royal Finals and placed 1st, earning them $95,000. Bugha was finally showing the world that he was the GOAT. In Chapter 3 Season 1, it was duos again, and teaming up with Mero was a no-brainer. They easily qualified for the grand finals, finishing 8th in the list. Against all odds, they managed to secure a 1st place finish, earning them $65,000. This was a big slap to the haters, considering people began to criticize Bugha just a couple of months earlier. Now he had back-to-back FNCS wins. Mero and Bugha continued to compete together for the rest of the Chapter 3. They placed 3rd in Chapter 3 Season 2 and 2nd in Chapter 3 Season 3, earning $35,000 and $50,000 respectively. Things were going great for the team, but But then came 2022 FNCS Invitational. This was the first tournament since the World Cup where the entire world compete against each other instead of just regional players. Unfortunately for Bugha and Mero, they placed 36 out of 50 teams, and because of that, the two decided to part ways for good. This brought another phase in Bugha's career. He parted ways with his organization Sentinels in December 2022, not because of his performance, but because the organization dropped its entire Fortnite roster. For the first time in Bugha's career, he was a free agent. Remember, he started with Sentinels and never changed organizations, but as we all know, Bugha has gained a lot of traction and already recognized as a pro, so it didn't take long for him to stay as a free agent. He was quickly signed by Dignitas. But now things were about to change for Bugha. Even though he was winning cash cups and other small events, he had somewhat lost his prime. At the time of the pandemic, and at the time he was struggling a bit, still people watched him, wondering that what tricks the first solo World Cup champion might pull off. At this point, he was doing a lot of things, creating content, streaming, doing ads, promotions, so it wasn't easy for Bugha. Considering this, he wasn't able to pay much attention to his fans, and his fan base was constantly declining. He was averaging just around 2,000 viewers, which is decent but quite low considering he was the World Cup champion and given his accomplishment. This was especially surprising considering he has over 5 million Twitch followers. At this time, Bugha teamed up with one of the upcoming greats in the game, Peterbot, in Chapter 4 Season 1. It was a very easy qualifications for both into the Grand Finals, but they finished 16th in the Grand Finals, which was disappointing. Then there was a sudden change in Bugha's career again. Due to a disappointing finish, Peterbot and Bugha part ways. Bugha again teamed up with Mero, but just before the FNCs, Mero posted that he was quitting Fortnite. This was shocking. Mero stated that he needed a break. Just before the FNCs, Bugha teamed up with Threats in Chapter 4 Season 2. Over the following 2 seasons, they did pretty well and qualified for the Global Championship, though their performance wasn't great, placing them 23rd. In Chapter 5, Bugha teamed up with Aviv, another great player. Bugha mentioned that he didn't have many options after the poor performance in the World Cup Championship. Bugha and Aviv performed really well, finishing 3rd, but mysteriously, Bugha and Aviv part ways. Bugha then joined his new teammate, Agers. The reason for this will be explained by Bugha himself.
Yeah, so after a really successful season with Aviv, a lot of people still ask why I ended up splitting with him and going to Agers. A lot of this was just because in OG Fortnite, when they brought it back, I was supposed to play with Agers in the upcoming FNCS. We were supposed to play, and the entire OG Fortnite, we were doing pretty good. We were supposed to win this one event, and going into the last game, both of us just got DC'd randomly. So, you know, I thought Agers and I were really good. It was one of those play styles that I wanted to try to play with. It was like a commandment type of player. And I just wanted to see how I would do with someone like that.
Though the shift wasn't good for Bugha as they finished 13th, earning just over $3,000. Bugha then shifted back to Aviv, and this time it was much better, with a 7th place finish qualifying them for the championship in Fort Worth, Texas. They placed a decent 14th, earning them $12,000. Recently, Bugha has mostly been playing trios with Reeds and Threats. They're doing quite well, placing consistently in the FNCS Division 1, with quite a lot of ups and downs. Bugha had an amazing career, but as of now, his hype is slowly going down. It's not his fault as he's working hard, but he might be trying to do many things at once. What are your expectations on the Fortnite first solo World Cup champion? Do put down in the comment section.